Good morning.
Good morning to you.
How are you doing?
I am doing really well, thank you. And you?
I'm very good. And I think we should say good afternoon, good evening, good night to anyone else who might be listening at some point in the day. But it is
Because we're
morning for us
inclusive.
right now. Exactly. We welcome all times.
You are. Forever and ever. Amen.
Exactly. Indeed. So today we're going to be looking at boundaries. So the overall purpose of our podcast, Emotions Unlocked, is about helping people to understand their emotion, to change the things they want to enjoy where they are, all of the things that we've learned about happiness, really, and being contented in yourself, in your own skin. And boundaries are a key part of that. Would you agree?
Oh, there's not enough words in the dictionary to tell you how much I agree with that. And I think boundaries and saying yes and no at the right time, knowing your own yes and no have been so huge for me over my life. It's just been pivotal. So I think this is going to be a doozy for people.
Absolutely. And that whole kind of people pleasing is one of those phrases that gets banded around, like all these kind of words, mindfulness and things. When you actually stop and think about it, like people pleasing, that's about putting everyone else first.
Yeah.
And that basically means no boundaries for yourself. You'll be doing things you don't want to do, not doing things you do want to do, so that other people stay happy. And why do people do that? It's because they want to stay in relationship with that person. They don't want to get into trouble. They don't want to cause conflict. And that is why our boundaries just get squashed or ignored. And sometimes that boundary can be so close to us that somebody can say something and it's like it will hit you in your heart because you've got no kind of safety barrier. And so I always think of it as like a boundary, like a pillow around you or a space around you that can filter things.
Yeah. I had an image of a pillowy sumo suit then. So you're like walking around with this padded protection on, which is quite nice.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I think for empaths and highly sensitives as well, boundaries is a super tricky thing to navigate because it's part of our having to control the room to make sure that we feel safe, right, as well.
Yeah.
So there is a deeper aspect to that people pleasing.
Yeah.
For many people. And when I discovered that whole side of it, I was like, oh, okay, that explains my entire life. Thanks.
Exactly. And why are empaths and highly sensitive people like that? Like there's the nature nurture, but have they had to become more empathic and more sensitive because their boundary has been squashed? It's which came first is another. Somebody once said to me once, we're not all born that sensitive. Like things happen that create that sensitivity because you have to adjust to your environment.
Yeah.
And that was again another like, oh, wow. Yeah. What have I been through that's made me have to be this empathic, this sensitive to everyone else's emotion? What am I so scared of?
Yeah. Yeah, because something fundamentally doesn't feel safe. And that might not be an environmental stressor. It might be, I don't feel safe. I don't feel like I belong in this family, and it's not necessarily something the conscious mind can make sense of either. And that's the tricky thing. So when we're trying to figure out oftentimes, or at least in my experience and some of my clients, why our boundaries are rubbish, it's not always that easy to track it down.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the same with all the work. It's about what's impacting you now that is no longer relevant. Like what are these past like open loops? Starting school always comes to mind when you think about this as well. And people are in their original family. It's not until you go to school or start going to friends' houses and seeing how different families work and not to, it's like, what? Oh, I didn't know that was possible. Some families have real interesting quirks and, phrases that, and when you're born into that, you just, this is how it is. This is the way it is. And you don't know anything else. And it's true, our whole unconscious mind is like that. We don't know all the rules. We're just following this kind of emotion and things play out. We think it's nothing to do with us, but actually it's the rules in our unconscious that are filtering what we see.
And it's really powerful to understand that concept, isn't it? Because then I think a lot of people, certainly with a lot of the, let's say, conditions or the struggles that people have, there's this layer around the outside of self-blame. Well, obviously it's my fault. Obviously there's something wrong with me. Obviously I can't get my SH1T together. Obviously I'm rubbish, blah, 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 blah. And I think when you look at it from the point of view that you've just said, for me, when I discovered that, I felt this whole kind of visceral relief, of, oh, actually, so it's not that I'm crap. It's just that there's stuff going on that, has brought me to where I am, kind of thing.
Yeah.
the self-punishment can stop a little bit, you know.
Yeah, because we're programmed to believe that, you know, our parents basically are God when we're born, because we need them to be right, so they love us and look after us and nurture us. So if anything goes wrong, it must be my fault. Somewhere I did something.
Yeah.
It must have been me. And they're just doing their best. They're all human. We're all humans doing our best. But until that kind of is stopped and healed and that pattern addressed, it's just going to carry on and continue. I think that's why a lot of kids now are terrified. Like, apart from everything's going on in the world, there's a lot of unprocessed emotion. Even I often use this example around food, which is a really strong boundary. You know, eat everything on your plate. Like during the war, some people were like imprisoned if they didn't eat all their food. And that was actual punishment because there wasn't enough. Like, but that stuff hangs around in the unconscious, collective unconscious mind. Because we all went through this trauma. Even COVID was a collective trauma. We all went through this experience. Another thing that comes to mind is that apparently over the evolution of the world, the Earth, every now and then there's a big environmental change and the Earth compresses and changes shape. And human skulls over that time always expand after this. So we are growing after trauma, through trauma. Trauma is what helps us to learn and to grow. Like, we need trauma to create change. Yeah.
Did not know that.
Dr. Brian Cox, watched his universe program. I can't remember which one it was, but he had all these human skulls, and after each big environmental Earth movement, human brains grew.
Wow.
So we learn, we learn most through trauma. And it is like, you know, if you go, oh, I need £1,000 to go on holiday tomorrow. Oh yeah, that'd be nice. No, you need £1,000 tomorrow, or I'm going to steal something from you, or, you know, something bad's going to happen. You're going to find that money. If it's something pleasurable, so the drive is the fear. That's staying alive is what's going to get you to do stuff, basically.
It's crazy, isn't it? Like, and I think flicking that switch away from, I think obviously the more you grow and heal through your trauma and everything that's gone on, and the more that you rewire these neural pathways, like we are doing with this podcast and with these trainings, eventually that balance kind of tips a little bit, that you are driven more by pleasure than running away from pain. And that's the beautiful thing with this, is that it doesn't have to stay this way. Equally, you're not a one and done. So it's not like you're going to do this podcast with us today and go, hey, I'm sorted. Bye.
Oh, that's all right. I'm fine.
It would be nice, wouldn't it? But at 48, you know, I can confidently say it's not a one and done.
Still going.
Still going. It still will be forever and a day, but like, it just gets easier. And I think the impact on you as well becomes less and less and less. So, you know, hopefully you'll take from this that setting boundaries gets easier the more you do it, just like any kind of muscle.
Yeah. And people say, as I get older, I don't care what people think. You know, that's a little bit of that as well. You go through enough going, do you know what? I've had enough of doing other people's, because you get sick of it. Because if you don't get what you want consistently, something's got to change. And it's drawing that line in the sand. And often people will, you know, when you start to lay down your boundaries, people don't like it because you don't do what they want you to do. So that's, you know, the reality of that is that friendships can change, relationships can change, but you might leave your job and get a great job. You might move house. You might stop putting up with that. You might stop drinking. You might change your life for the positive. You know, something big might happen. And when you do that, the people you're with kind of don't vibe with that sometimes, unless they come with you, or they just, you know, things evolve, things change. But it's like, you know, people get, a lot of people I work with are sick and tired of being sick and tired. You know, they've been through it, they've done it. Like, I need something that works now. I've tried all these things. And that decision is part of the healing process and part of the change process.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I couldn't agree more. And I think that when you start to put boundaries in place, it becomes an identity thing. People are so used to the identity of you that was always the one that go, yeah, all right, then we'll go there. Or yeah, I'll do that for you. Yeah,
whatever you want.
Yeah, I don't mind. Go wherever you want to go. And then when you start to get more forthright and you change your identity, it's unknown to them. And so it kind of feels like a threat, and it doesn't feel safe, and they don't know who you are, and, you know, all of these things. And so it's not necessarily their fault either. It's just, they need to do their work like we all do, right?
Exactly. Yeah. You can only do you. We can only do ourselves. So with all that in mind, let's look at boundaries.
Please.
So what does it feel like when that people pleasing, I'll do what you want, rears its ugly head? Probably not so much now. What did it used to feel like? I'm trying
It
to think
still
of it.
rears
Well,
its head
yeah.
every now and again.
Well, yeah.
And especially when two lives are coming together, you know, it's new. It's a new. So like you might think that you've got all your boundaries, because I had all my boundaries set up and I thought I was all right when it was you and your job and your whatever. And then when a new factor comes into play, then it's the gloves are off again, right? It's like, oh, start this again, have we? Right, good. So for me, it feels like, what does it feel like? I can't, okay, so how can I explain it? It's like there's a very close proximity fence around me. My energy is like, I need to get out. It's kind of like fenced in a little bit because maybe I'm not saying the extent of what I need to say, or I'm sort of, what's the word? Compromising and recalibrating. That's the word I'm looking for. It feels like recalibration. So everything is a bit discombobulated and it's like pixels going boop, 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 boop in my energy field. I'm, you know, trying to impersonate a computer for those of you listening and you can't see.
Computer science.
Yeah.
Bleep, bleep.
Remember the old BBC computers or the spaceship on Star Trek, those kinds.
Real computer.
Yeah. So that's what it
old
feels.
school. So you're recalibrating to the other person?
Yeah, to their vibration and their energy field. And it's like, it feels like there's kind of crosshairs, if that makes sense.
So it's uncomfortable. It sounds like the way you're describing it sounds like you feel like trapped almost, or like, I don't want to put words in your mouth.
At times, yeah. And I know that I'm not, but physically and energetically, it feels a little bit spiky is probably the wrong word, but just, yeah, you can tell I'm struggling with this one to explain it.
What's the emotion? How does it make you feel? Close your eyes for a moment and just go back to a time when that was happening. What's the emotion?
Frustrated.
Right. So
and in my human mind, that is when I, you know, when anything is not aligned for me, I feel frustration straight away. It's a good sign.
Feeling into that frustration in your body. Where do you feel it in your body?
Wasn't expecting that. Shoulders and upper arms. Backs of the shoulders and upper arms. Weird.
Does it have a colour or a texture?
Purple. Weird.
What's the positive intention of frustration? What would you want instead?
Ease and flow.
Good. How does it feel to have ease and flow?
The purple just melted off my shoulders like chocolate. I could just see like a future shot of it melting.
Ah, nice. Just breathe into that. So it's really quickly, you just find the feeling. What is it telling you? What do you want instead? And it starts to go. In a moment, we're going to put in a new boundary for you. I just want you to feel into this for a moment, just noticing your body. And I wonder where that frustration came from. What was the trigger? What's the fear underlying that?
I think part of it, I don't know if this, well, there is no right and wrong, but what comes to mind is just scattered kind of memories of being a really young kid. So say 4 or 5 years old and been told you can't do that, shouldn't do that. A favorite one of my dad's, and I think he was winding us up half the time, was children should be seen and not heard.
Oh yeah,
and he wasn't an authoritarian in that respect. He was a big softy, but he just used to kind of play the dad card sometimes, you know, and so it sticks in my head, that phrase. And also couple that with the feeling of I don't want to get it wrong. There's this like I want to do it but I don't, or you know. And
what happens if you get it wrong? What's the fear?
Upsetting somebody, definitely.
And what's the problem with upsetting somebody? What does that lead to?
Feels guilty and icky and gooey and
what would happen if you upset somebody?
They wouldn't like me anymore and they'd be upset, and that would upset me that I'd upset somebody, and I'd feel horrible.
And what would that lead to? What would happen if they were upset with you?
They wouldn't love me anymore.
And what's the problem with not being loved anymore?
Be on my own.
Okay. Yeah. We're going to bring you out of that in a minute, but what's the problem with being on your own?
Might not survive.
Who's
going to help me? Tell me what to do, right?
Yeah. If you're not surviving, what does that lead to?
You're dying.
Yeah. So quickly you go from being a bit frustrated, I better calibrate to them, to if I don't keep them happy, part of me thinks I'm going to die, basically. It's that deep level survival.
Yeah, let's cut to the chase on it.
Yeah. And which is, the unconscious mind's number one priority is to keep you alive and safe. So anything that deep in the unconscious, that happens so quickly, boundaries crossed. Uh-oh, it's the death alert.
Yeah.
Bing, 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 recalibrate, make them happy. Whew, staying alive. The reality is you're not going to die. You can look after yourself. You are safe. They're not going to leave you. That's the truth. So just leaning into that fear, that survival instinct. What does that feel like in your body?
Weird things are happening today in terms of how things feel for me, but I feel like I'm leaning up against a board that's kind of covered in gluey blue paint. I have no idea why, but it's like I'm pressing up against it and it feels horrible and cold and slimy, and I don't like it.
Breathing into that, and I invite you to butterfly tap. So cross your hands over your chest and then tap left, then right on your collarbones. And just breathe into that feeling. And what's the emotion that don't like it? What is the emotion? How does it make you feel?
Oh, excuse me. I feel like I want to run away. Fear.
Yes. Nice deep breath. What's the positive intention of fear? What do you want instead?
Connection.
Good. And what's the purpose of connection?
To share love.
Oh, lovely. And how does that feel?
Warm and warm and cakey.
Oh my God.
What is going on today? Warm and cakey in my belly.
Oh, yes, please. Maybe that's why we have birthday cake.
I've just made a huge connection, but yeah.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, with the comfort eating and the the addiction to sugary, cakey, stodgy.
We go.
Like grandma, who was my bestie and taken far too young. Yeah. That all makes total sense.
So you connect to grandma with your lovely warm cakes.
And scones. She was a demon. Scones.
And that again is what the unconscious does. You can't get grandma, we'll get the next best thing.
Oy vey, yeah. I know it.
So feeling all that warmth, all that love, sharing, connection. Good. How's that feeling now?
It's lovely. I feel like I'm in an egg-shaped cocoon of warm, cakey, fuzzy goodness.
Good.
I can even smell it. And I'm not wearing a perfume that resembles cake.
We should make cake perfume. That's a brilliant idea.
I really should.
Probably. Is it good? Anyway. Good. Feeling that in every cell. In your heart. Send it into your past, through your timeline, through all of time and space. And just let me know when that feels complete.
Yeah.
And just come back to that feeling with the blue gooey wall. Is that now?
It's not there.
Good. And leaning into that people-pleasing energy. How does that feel now?
Yeah, the fence around me is gone.
Good.
And the cake has also eased the frustration, strangely.
Cake is magical, as we know.
Kind of a catch-all, isn't it?
Yeah.
Or cake-all.
We're going to do food on a later one.
Still need to.
And then we'll just enjoy all of that lovely warmth. Again, just let me know when that feels complete. You'll have a sensation in your body when you know. Good, and just come back, stop tapping when you're ready, and open your eyes.
I'm so happy I bought waterproof mascara.
Yeah.
And it's not like I'm crying, but there's definitely a release there because my eyes are streaming. I don't feel upset, but it just goes to show that the body knows exactly what it needs to do.
Yeah, stress hormones come out in the tears. There's so much release, isn't there? And just water's emotion, you know, all of that. Yeah. Movement and release, as you say.
So good.
Good. So there we are. We've found what happens when your boundaries are crossed. And what your body wants at that time is reassurance, cake, hug from grandma, because she made you feel safe and warm and protected. That right?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. So now we're going to create a boundary that you can bring in around yourself whenever you need it. That you're in control of, basically. So close your eyes and just connect in, scan through your body and just make sure you're clear. Don't leave that frustration. Is that all cleared?
Yeah.
Good. So to create this boundary, I'd like you to visualize, I don't know, a bubble, or it might be trees, or a fence, or a wall. What would that boundary be made of for you?
A bubble.
Does it have a color?
Pink.
Lovely. And is it translucent? Is it solid? Opaque?
It's kind of like, actually it's turned to pinky green. And it's like when you're blowing bubbles, it's like that sheen.
Oh yeah.
That Indian ink marbly type.
Oh, gorgeous. Yeah. So you can make this bubble as big as you want it to be, or as small as you want it to be. You can make it thicker if you want to. Nobody can come into this bubble. This is your space. You can invite people in. Nobody, only good energy can come in. So you can stay connected to whatever you want to. Anything else can bounce off. So you can sort of program it to what you would like to allow in. And you can change it. If you're going into sort of a room full of lots of people, you might want to make it bigger and thicker. If you're having one-to-one with your partner, you might, or just the two of you, you might want to make that smaller. When you're at home and you feel safe, you can let your boundary let you know about different things that are coming in. It's kind of an organic, alive part of you. Good. How does it feel to have that?
My shoulders and the tops of my arms are tingling.
Good.
Feels good. Peaceful. Quiet.
I wonder if you can go back in time to, you mentioned a few moments in your childhood. Children should be seen and not heard, those kind of moments. And I wonder if you could see yourself there. Do you have a picture?
Yeah.
How old are you in this picture?
5.
Okay, so just stepping in. Anyone else around?
Yeah, we're all sat around the dinner table. Me, my sister, mum and dad.
And how's that little you feeling?
Yeah, fine. You know, happy go lucky.
Freezing everyone else. Is there something going on? I wonder what brought you to this picture.
Because it's where he used to say it the most. So if we were talking at the table and he was in a stroppy mood, he would kind of say, "Eat your dinner. Children are made, supposed to be seen and not heard."
Okay.
It's a standard byline.
So it feels normal. What impact is that having on the little you?
It's a little bit unsure because 99.9% of the time he was always a big softie and in a really amazing mood. And then just every now and again, if he was irritated, this would come out. But that means that sometimes you can't gauge because I didn't know.
Yeah.
It was unexpected.
Yeah.
And I thought everything was fine. And then you sort of questioning myself as to what did I do?
Yeah, I thought I knew the rules, but hang on, they've just changed the rules.
Yeah.
What's this one?
Yeah.
So I'd like you to connect with that little you, just silently in your mind, tell her you've come from the future and you've come to help her. What advice would you give her? Does she have any questions for you?
I guess what's coming through, so it feels like it's important to say, is that in latter years, especially this year, I found out that my dad's always struggled with anxiety and depression. I didn't know. And so it's a case of, you know, he's just trying to protect himself as well. When he feels like he doesn't know how the world is operating, he likes it to be quiet, and he likes to feel like he can control what's coming at him. And it's just a way of soothing himself. He doesn't.
Does he need a big bubbly boundary by any chance?
Yeah, definitely. Oh yeah, bright turquoise. Oh, she's just gone up to him and stroked his arm.
There's that empathy. Yeah. The kids want their parents to be happy, and parents want their kids to be happy. It's like we're trying to soothe each other, like someone start that process and just be happy.
Yeah.
Be safe. Just pour love into that picture. Anything else, just let that unfold. Let me know if you need any help or when that feels complete. Good.
Yeah.
Good. How you doing?
Yeah, good. That was unexpected but nice.
How's that little you?
Eating her dinner like a good one. She always did love a Sunday lunch.
Oh yeah. What are you having?
Something with gravy on it, lots of mashed potato. Beef, I think. I did used to eat meat at one point. Yeah. Been veggie since I was 13, but she had beef, mash, carrots, peas, gravy, Yorkshire pudding.
Oh
Yummy.
Yeah. Good. And just checking in with her boundary again. How's that feeling?
Yeah, it's kind of sparkly. It's there, but it's not like a really aggressive boundary, if you know what I mean. It's just like shimmering around her. So as if she knows it's there, but it's not like, get away from me. It's not like, you're horrible, I hate you. It's just like, okay, we understand each other.
Good.
Excuse me.
Yeah, it's your space, my space.
Yeah.
So often families are fused. We're all feeling each other's emotions rather than bonded, which is where we're all separate beings. So that if someone's going through something, we don't all jump in the pool with them.
Yeah.
So you can be on the edge and help, throw in the lifeline, not jump in there and try and pull them out. So when you've got your own boundary, you're only feeling your own stuff.
Yeah.
Good. Something else that little you needs?
No, she's good.
Good. Just let her know that you're there for her if she needs you. And when you're ready, come back up above your timeline and back to now, allowing each event between then and now to reevaluate itself around this new boundary, this new way of being, this space, confidence in yourself, this ease and flow all the way back to now. This lovely cocoon of warm, fuzzy goodness into your body. And just opening your eyes when you're ready.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Didn't expect that one. Then I never do with you. So, of course. Oh, that was amazing.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, it was a bit upsetting just because obviously I lost my dad this year, but actually that was so nice to be able to reconnect with him in that moment and to be able to do something nice for him, and in that split second put everything in perspective about his behavior and moments he'd had where he was a bit off and, you know, things like that. Because generally he was a lovely guy. He just had his moments. But now I know why. Like you say, all the entire timeline just went, just snapped back into place.
Yeah.
Very powerful.
Goosebumps. There's a great book called, I think the title says it all, If Women Rose Rooted. Have you heard of that one?
I have, actually.
Yeah. And it's just, just that whole, if we knew we were stable and loved, and we do, but we also don't. Like the power that's in that, I'm safe, I'm getting it right, I'm okay, is huge. And all of this work, everything we're doing, the boundaries, is about parenting yourself, because our parents they did their best, they did what, they've got their own stuff they're dealing with it, here they are. The growing up, the healing process is about parenting yourself through those moments when it wasn't there, or and there could be split seconds, split second of, oh, children should be seen or not heard. Only joking. Even if that's the 3 seconds, it's like in that moment you're on your own. So when you go back and heal those parts and go, you're not on your own, I've got you, and you're fine. Oh, okay. You can like breathe.
Exactly that. And actually what I feel now is just this pulsing, this openness here. And obviously saying and doing the wrong thing, right, is a big thing in people pleasing and boundaries, right? It's part of it, isn't it? So I close it off, and I've noticed
feeling that all in your throat.
Yeah, completely. Just opened up, and it's like gone wide open. And the thing is, when I sing, I cry. I always have. And I think it's to do with that, because it's the full-on expression, and that's what's scary, right? Because I might somebody and then I'll be alone and die again. Isn't it weird where this goes, this brain?
Oh, absolutely. Like that as well.
Yeah. Wow.
Indeed. So you now have this ultra strong, powerful boundary that you can use. So you might want to like have a trigger, like I keep clicking my fingers. So maybe you click your fingers and it powers up, or you put your hand on your heart, or you just close your eyes for a moment and visualize it around you. Like the mind loves patterns and rituals and colors. So if you just tell it what to do, your body will, oh yeah, I've got my boundary. Oh, forgot. Yeah, I've got it. And you will feel boundaried. And then you coming out with a different energy. So when people feel that you're boundaried, they treat you differently. It's like handing a script to people. Can you treat me like this, please? Oh, I've got ultra strong boundaries, so don't mess. Okay. People respect boundaries. So if people are walking all over you, it's because your boundary isn't there. It's not because of them.
Yeah, too right. That's mind-blowing again. And you think you know a lot about stuff, and then you see this other perspective, and it's just shed an entire new light on things. There's so many people who will probably need to hear this.
Boundaries are so key in everything. And they slip all the time. It's like the whole, especially for yourself. Often, people do stuff for other people, but when it comes to, oh, it doesn't matter if I'll just have this one thing, or it's only me. It doesn't matter if I don't do what I said I was going to do. Like integrity of yourself, you'll let yourself down far quicker than you would anyone else. And that is an example of a boundary not being respected. I don't know how many times I'll go, oh, I'll get that done. Oh, I haven't done it. Doesn't matter. Yes, it matters. Get it done. Like, do your stuff. It's the first thing to go. That's my personal sort of understanding of it. Where I see the boundaries slip, I'm the one who loses first.
Yeah, absolutely. And because if you're not being boundaried with yourself, how you do anything is how you do everything. So
exactly. Yeah.
Are your boundaries with others even upheld as tightly as they could be?
Yeah.
Because if at any point you're at the place of going, it doesn't matter, then that's going to leak, isn't it?
So that's okay. So ways to see that your boundaries off is where you're doing things, you're saying yes to things you don't want to say yes to, or you're saying no to things you want to say yes to. Most of the right around. But it doesn't mean that you don't do things that you don't want to do. Or, sometimes you've got to do something. I don't want to do it, but I have to. It's like you get lined up with it. Okay, this is going to be unpleasant, or I don't really want to do it, or, I've got to go through this process. I've got to go to the bank and see the bank manager. I don't know. But I know it's good for me in the end. So just line up with it. Going, I get to do this rather than I have to do this. Change your energy, put your boundary in. Go in with it. This is going to be good for me. This is going to work out. That's going to start to shift rather than, oh, I can't, take control of it. if you're doing something that is difficult, then know you'll get through it. Put your boundary up and you will get through it.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
It totally does. And I think it's worth saying that a little bit of energy work like this, even just the butterfly tapping, was actually really powerful, because so tapping, crossing your hands over and tapping under your collarbones, as you told me to, that was really powerful, because immediately I dropped into my body, my energy. And we know that when we do energy work, your brain waves slow down, your prefrontal cortex, your thinky brain comes back online, so you can make the right decisions, and you can access what I call your yes or your no, right? What is right for me and what isn't. And sometimes I think it's worth taking 2 minutes to do that and make the decision from the right place, rather than then having to backpedal or undo or apologize or whatever, or grin and bear it if you really don't want to. And it's just an easier way to do it, because then I think as well, the energy of when you deliver your yes or your no is very different from a resentful, yeah, all right then, 3 gritted teeth, or an angry, no, I'm not doing that for you, when it doesn't have to be
and
that.
you don't have to explain yourself. A lot of people go, oh well, no, I'm sorry, I can't. Like, people will get ill so they don't do things. Like, do you know what I mean? Oh, I can't because I've got a cold. I can't because that's happened to me quite a few times. Like, I didn't want to go to that. I could have just said I don't want to go to that. But instead I've manifested an illness so that I can't. It's like, you don't have to, you can just say no, and you don't have to explain yourself. Thanks for the invitation, that's not for me. Or I'm going to say no. Like, practicing saying no, even if it's something you want to do, I think it's quite a good thing to do. Just saying no to things, just to, especially with your kids. Can I have this? No, you can't. Just for them to feel a no.
Yeah. Oh, don't, because I see that everywhere. I see that everywhere. It's like, but then the aggression that sometimes comes back from ill-boundaried parents, about how dare the child even ask for that? Just say no and be consistent,
and let them feel the frustration and the whatever it is, the upset of a no, because the world doesn't say yes all the time. The world says no, or things don't work out.
And if you say no either, does it?
Exactly. So when you can learn to just adjust to that and be resilient and go, okay, well, maybe it's next time, it's fine. You're going to be much more flexible. And the more flexible you are, the more resilient you are, the more successful you are. Organisms that are flexible are more successful, ones that adapt to the environment.
There's a t-shirt with that saying on it. I could just
oh my god, the merch is coming. It's true.
What a session. What a session.
Yeah,
love that.
Cool. I'm looking forward to just exerting my boundaries now.
They're going to be fabulous. I'm looking forward to a day of
watch out, well,
wandering about in a
I'm going to be extremely demanding.
Yeah, I'm going to say no to everything because I can.
Yeah, I've got a list.
The funny thing is we're having a base put in today for a new summer house, and they'll go, are you ready for us to put a base in? No.
Did you sorry,
half an hour. Yeah. Not negotiable.
I've got stuff to do, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes it's a yes, by the way.
Yeah, you can say yes. Yes is fine.
Yeah. Yes is good.
Super.
Oh, wonderful. Good stuff.
Yeah, thank you so much. And I really hope that people get a lot out of this, because it's just such a pain for so many people, I think, these days, in this, and in the world of holding up a mobile phone and instant gratification. We are not taught patience and to look inside for the answer, right? It's always reaction. Yes, no,
I want that.
Yeah, or I don't want that, or whatever. And actually, I think going inside and getting quiet and finding your yes or your no for boundaries, as well as for anything else, is going to do you the world a good. So
absolutely. Even like, you can go on Amazon and order something and arrive tomorrow. Where's the saving up and looking forward to it? And you can watch an entire TV series in 2 days. There's none of the, what we were talking about the other day, Saturday morning. He-Man, She-Ra.
Guilty. I do stuff. I save it up and I binge watch because I can't stand a cliffhanger. What does that tell you? I need to learn to tolerate it.
Okay, you're going to have a cliffhanger this week. Watch something and do not watch the next one for a week. I dare you.
Okay. Julie,
say no. It was a song, wasn't it? Just say no. Grange Hill.
T-shirts, caps.
Okay, good.
Good.
Amazing. I enjoy. Amazing. Thank you for just rocking up and being you. Awesome.
And right back at you. Thank you for an amazing sesh.
Yeah. And enjoy, and I'll see you next week.
Take it easy.
See you later. Bye.